Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining for this. Should be a gentle yoga practice for today. Grab your mat, maybe a blanket, a strap or a block if you like to have those on hand. I don't have anything significant planned with either one of them today, but just sometimes it's nice to have the tools available. So we'll begin in a reclined position, just taking a few moments. Just taking a few moments to settle in for the practice ahead. Bringing our attention to the breathing, releasing anything that may be happening off of the mat, just really taking time for ourselves to be on the mat, to be present, and to be kind to ourselves in this time. Deepening that inhalation, really maybe even resting a hand around your navel and feeling that inhalation fill to that area, and exhaling, maybe releasing. Just a couple more breaths. And perhaps when you're ready, maybe bringing the legs into our chest, holding here as it's comfortable. Maybe rocking a bit from side to side. Maybe a little bit back and forth. That sometimes helps free up my lower back, and it's been a little bit tighter today. So as you're comfortable, maybe releasing one leg, keeping one knee close, the other leg just extending along the ground. Maybe circling that lifted foot, or changing sides if you'd like. And perhaps drawing both in, rocking a bit once again. And when you're ready, releasing the legs so we find the bridge. Feet pressing into the ground, knees toward the ceiling, gently rolling up and rolling down as it's comfortable. Just thinking about one vertebrae at a time, rolling up. Just a couple more times here with bridge, rolling things up and back down. And maybe lowering the knees to the left and the right. Now I like to do this connected with the breath, so I'll lower the knees to one side, take a deep breath in, and then as if I were pressing the small of my back into the ground and using that to draw the legs across. So we're really maintaining core engagement here. Just articulating the lower part of our body back and forth. time to each side. And bring back to the middle when you're comfortable. Maybe drawing the knees in. Maybe circling a little bit if you'd like, or rocking once again. So while I'm here in the reclined position, I'm actually going to take a moment to look to my left and my right. Just not forcing anything, but just the idea that, you know, my body resting on the ground keeps my neck in a particular alignment. And I'm certainly not forcing it, I'm just looking. And when you're ready, finding a way up onto your hands and knees, flattening the back, maybe moving with a little bit of cat-cow, just inhaling as we lower our midsection, exhaling as we arch the back. Just a couple more, moving through the length of the body. Finding your way back to neutral when it's comfortable. Maybe shifting left to right, pulling the hip and the shoulder a little closer together on one side and the other. Back to the cat-cow as it's comfortable. Or if you're able to make circles, mobilizing through the middle of the body. And maybe sinking back to child's position, shifting our heels back toward, or our hips back toward our heels. Maybe resting our head on our hands for a moment. Perhaps extending the arms, maybe walking to the right or the left. They're finding a little bit more length down one side. And maybe the other side. Working back to the middle. So getting a nice hold on the ground, broadening our palms, drawing the shoulders forward for a moment. So we're just a couple of gentle planks here. Think about turning the upper arms close to the ribs, lifting the navel back so we create some support through the center of our body. And then pulling back. And again, just supporting in plank, just modified plank, and pressing back. If you'd like to remove the modification from that plank and extend the legs, be whatever is comfortable here. And maybe pressing back to child's position one more time. So, if you're ready, maybe coming up onto your hands and knees. Shoulders over the hands, hips over the knees. Maybe we can move a little bit through a little bit of a sunbird, just mobilizing one side here for a moment. Exhale as we bring the knee toward our forehead. Inhaling as we lift the heel toward the ceiling. So we're kind of extending that cat-cow motion here and using one leg. Maybe one more time on this side. And then the other. So just moving through the body as much as we're able. Exhaling, knee toward the forehead. Inhaling as we lift the heel toward the ceiling. Maybe one more if you'd like. And coming back to neutral. Maybe a couple more with the cat-cow, just flexing and extending. And pressing back to child's position when you're comfortable. Now, we're going to work our way up onto our feet. And however you feel comfortable getting onto your feet is great. I'm actually going to come through the low series. I'm going to draw my shoulders forward over my hands, leaving the knees on the ground for now. Lowering partway down just to get a little bit more arm and chest engagement here. Pulling through, gently extending the body. I'm just looking up as much as I'm able. And then maybe pressing back onto all fours or downward dog if that is comfortable. And gently walking the hands and the feet closer together, taking a nice deep bend in the knees, reversing, coming upright, and relaxing the arms down to our sides. Rolling the shoulders out, shaking out the hands. Maybe lifting one ear or the opposite, maybe lifting the chin or the back of the head. Releasing a little tension in my jaw. Rolling those shoulders out one more time. Good. So just taking a note of our standing position, right? Checking in with our feet on the ground, noticing where the weight is, how we balance over that point of support. As you're comfortable, perhaps inhaling, sweeping the arms overhead, just moving as far as it's comfortable, exhaling as they come back, inhaling. So really just zeroing in on the arms and the shoulders at this point, that maybe the neck is involved a little bit, but noticing what is comfortable and what is not. Perhaps we just go partway up and back down. A couple more here if it's comfortable, just moving through whatever range of motion is appropriate for today. One more time. Rolling the shoulders out, maybe shaking out the arms. All right, maybe shaking out the legs. We'll let the feet move just a little bit. So a little walking warrior. I kind of like to use that to start to warm up the lower legs a little, or the legs a little bit, the lower part of our body. Inhaling as we step back. So finding a very comfortable warrior one, maybe broadening the chest a bit, and stepping forward. Inhaling as we step back, exhaling as we step forward. Take whatever time you need. Doesn't have to be a big step, but the idea is we're just engaging back and then stepping forward. Inhaling and exhaling. Just a couple more. ready, completing a cycle and returning to the forward edge, maybe shaking the legs out a bit, relaxing the hands, perhaps turning from the middle. Shake things out. All right, so a little bit of forward bending here. We're going to do a little chair, a little forward bending, just a few in each direction here. Inhaling, I'm going to lift the arms overhead once again. Exhaling, and I'm going to sit into a comfortable chair. Now that doesn't have to be real deep. I'm going to shift the weight back to protect the knees. Inhaling as we come up once again. Exhaling, sitting down and back. In. And out. Lifting. So this time I'm going to move into a forward bend as if I were sitting in a chair, but then hinging the body forward. So almost placing my ribs on the legs and letting my body come forward. Now I'm not even straightening the legs, right? No, still similar to the chair. Dropping the hips a little bit so the knees bend. Inhaling as we come up. Exhaling once again, forward, maybe finding chair, and then forward bending. Reversing. And out. In. Last one. Maybe we'll pause here and just enjoy this forward bend for a couple of moments. So I'm going to work on softening my neck, relaxing the shoulders, so you kind of feel that weight just drain toward the ground. Now my legs are still bent comfortably, but perhaps if this gets to be a little bit more comfortable, or as we hang into it a little bit, we might think about extending the legs. Now just really ask yourself what your body is asking for or needing at this point. Bending into the knees, reversing the swan dive here as we're comfortable, and relaxing the arms. Rolling through the shoulders, shaking up the arms, lifting one ear or the opposite. And circle one ankle, and then the other. I like to roll out the toes sometimes, rolling them forward, depending on how that feels. So, gently stepping back into a comfortable warrior one. Hands where you find them to be comfortable. Today, I'm going to extend the arms overhead, just reaching toward the ceiling, maybe even looking at the space between the hands. I'm going to try and lift my energy up just a little bit at this point. One more breath. Releasing the arms. And maybe switching sides, right? Stepping forward with one, back with the other. Take whatever time you need, switch however it's appropriate to you today. Sinking into a warrior one, and again, maybe lifting the arms. Feel the inhalation floating the ribs up a little bit. But as we exhale, still see if we can sink into our foundation zone, really remaining grounded here. One more breath. And releasing, maybe standing upright and coming back to the forward edge of our mat. Shaking things out. So when you're ready, let's find the long edge of the mat. I'm actually going to point the toes to the corners, just so basically the knees and the toes are moving in the same direction. So I do this a lot as I step back, where I'll kind of catch the weight and gently open the hips a little bit. So the hope is that I'm taking some of the weight out of the legs and carrying into the arms a little bit. That's opening, decompressing the back, and then I'm getting a little bit of a twist. All right. So when you're ready, extending the legs, paralleling the feet, gently walking down. Maybe this is a point where you choose to use a block. Maybe the floor is accessible depending on how wide your feet are. Relaxing the neck and shoulders, just hanging forward here for a couple of moments. So right now, my target really is the backs of my thighs. I still have a little bit of tightness from some work I did last week in the backs of my thighs, my hamstrings. So I'm just giving it some time, taking it easy. I'm trying to be compassionate to these areas so they can heal and continue to help me with the practice and the things that I enjoy using them for. So I'm going to hold this maybe 2 more breaths. When you're ready, gently walking things back up, maybe bringing the feet in a little bit. Good. Shimmy things out just a bit. All right. Good. So I'm going to continue to work with the longer edge of the mat here. My right foot is now parallel with the short edge of the mat. I'm taking the left foot so it's parallel with the longer edge. I'm going to move out into Warrior Two for just a moment. Right. So I'm just going to kind of check in with my engagement here. Warrior Two. Now from there I'm going to lift, and I'm actually going to sink into it again, right? Warrior Two, just a couple times, up and down. Feel the feet connecting to the ground, feel this lift coming through the middle. Just one more time, up and down. Then we'll hold Warrior Two for 3 breaths. Reaching out through the arms, dropping the shoulders away from the ears, tucking the chin in a little bit, continuing to breathe. One more breath. And then with the following inhalation, lifting everything up, releasing the arms. So let's bring it back to our sides. Then I'm basically going to pivot on the heels and move to the opposite side. Right? So I'm still working with the long edge, left foot parallels with the short edge of the mat, and we're going to follow the right leg. Finding Warrior Two for a moment, and then lifting. And sinking, feeling that lift come through the middle, up, and down. One more time, up and down, returning to Warrior Two, 3 breaths. And when you're ready, inhaling, coming up. Releasing the arms, paralleling the feet once again. I'm just checking whatever distance works for you. Maybe walking forward, coming down into our forward bend one more time here. If the hands meet the ground or the block, that's great. Softening the neck. Releasing everything forward here for a couple more moments, a couple more breath cycles. Coming up right whenever you're ready, maybe bringing the feet in a little bit. And stepping back to the forward edge of the mat. Shaking things out some, if you'd like. For now, let's bring our feet a little bit closer together. You can determine how close you'd like them to be. So the closer our feet are, the more challenge this is for our balance. So just give ourselves a little bit of leeway to find what's appropriate. So we're in a 3-chair set here, right? Just inhaling, lifting, exhaling, sitting. So just finding what is a comfortable chair for now. Inhaling, coming up, exhaling, we're going to sit and then just gently turn to one side. Inhaling, coming up, exhaling, gently turning to the opposite side. So I'm not forcing that turn, I'm just starting to rotate through the torso a little bit. Inhaling as we come up, and releasing back to the middle. You can do another chair to center again if you'd like. But I said 3, so we're going to stick with 3. All right, so shaking the legs out. So a little balance challenge there. We're going to take that balance just a little bit further and maybe bring one foot partly off the ground or totally off the ground, depending on what works for you. Standing totally, well, firm through one leg, one foot. So it's below, my foot is below my knee at this point. Never against the joint, either below it or above it. So arms are down, just kind of working on drawing the shoulders back a little bit, chin tucked in, just standing strong even though we're on one foot. Bringing the hands together, shaking the legs out. We'll go to the other side whenever it's right, whenever it's comfortable. One foot, and really go ahead and push that into the floor. If you feel like you're not terribly stable on your mat, maybe stepping off to the edge of it and doing this, on the ground, 1 foot. It may help, right? Some mats are a little bit squishy, or sometimes it feels good to really get to the ground. Releasing from this side, maybe shaking the legs out. So coming back to the middle, maybe turning from the middle, just relaxing the arms, articulating the hips a little bit. Now, however you choose to get down to the ground is totally up to you, whatever's comfortable. I'm going to inhale, lifting, gently pouring forward. So I'm going to find my forward bend here. Relaxing the neck and shoulders for a moment. From there, gently going to bend the knees, sink the body down. So we're toward the ground. And when you're ready, sitting back to the ground, releasing the knees to the sides. So perhaps lifting the chest. If it helps, put the arms into the ground behind you, that's great. Lowering the knees a little bit. Now my feet are a little bit close to my body. Sometimes, some of you may find it to be a little bit more comfortable, closer, or a little bit further out. I urge you to explore the position. So lowering those knees. Maybe leaning away. Reaching the legs out to the side. Just for a moment, I'm just going to sit tall here. No forward bending, really. Just sitting tall. Think about reaching through the heels. I'm trying to open through the center a little bit. Still, again, kind of feeling a little bit of the hamstrings in this place today. Maybe a gentle twist here, just kind of walking the body to one side or the other. So I say gentle. This isn't the easiest thing to do, but listen to what your body tells you. Good. So I'm going to fold my feet back in to an easy seated position. So just taking a moment there. Roll the shoulders back a little bit, lifting the chin, maybe looking down, maybe looking to the right or the left, maybe lifting one ear or the other, kind of pivoting on the nose. I'm going to do that one again. shoulders out. Good. Okay, so from here, I'm going to recline back into the ground. So I'm going to hold one knee as I roll back, just giving me a little bit of support, maybe keeping that knee close, circling the ankle. Now I'm going to actually move into a figure four here for a couple of moments. So the knee that I had toward my chest, I'm just going to cross that ankle over the thigh of the opposite leg. Maybe I'm just going to be here, figure four. Perhaps we'll draw it in a little bit. I'll reach through and catch the other thigh, drawing up a bit. Releasing, maybe uncrossing the legs. And then to the other side, one knee in, maybe taking a moment to extend the other leg, circling the ankles a bit. And then setting up for figure four, bringing the extended leg bent, crossing the lifted leg over. Maybe just pausing here. Maybe bringing it in a little bit closer. A couple more breaths here. The goal is to feel this in the hip and not the knee, right? So my knee is comfortable, my hip, I'm feeling that rotation. This is really a good one for me today. I'm glad I'm doing this. This feels good. And releasing. Maybe drawing both knees in, rocking a bit for a couple of moments. Circling if you'd like. And then let's go ahead and release our body to the ground. However it feels comfortable to you. I'm going to cross my legs today. Just for me today, this feels good, like it relaxes the lower back a little bit. Having the legs fully extended is okay. So whatever feels appropriate to you. Some people like to use the butterfly. I like that a lot of days too, this reclined butterfly. But whatever option feels comfortable to you. Softening the shoulders, releasing the arms, just kind of letting them find a natural position at our sides. Softening the neck. Now if you would like to cover yourself with a blanket or prop up in some way, use what you know. The main goal is to be comfortable for the next couple of moments as we kind of return our attention to the breathing. We come into this attitude of release, just letting go anything that we're holding on to here, any tension that we've found in the body. Softening right down to the ground. Just a couple more breaths in and out. And just taking notice if there are any areas where we're holding. And maybe directing the breath to that space to open and release whatever we're holding there. One more breath. And perhaps rolling to one side. Maybe pausing here for a moment, supporting our head with one hand and the opposite arm. Just kind of bridging the gap between the completely relaxed and the more completely alert. And coming up into a comfortable seated position here for a moment. So taking a couple of moments to breathe. I'd like to end with 3 breaths specifically directed, one toward the body, just thanking the body for its work. Second breath, I like to use to honor the mind for being attentive to the practice and just, in this time, being here and not really allowing distractions. And the third breath honors the breath itself, the feedback that it gives, the pacing that it gives, just how it informs the practice for today. So as you're comfortable, closing out our time together, namaste. I thank you for joining me. Until next time.